Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the conclusion of round number 2 for the Open at Tallahassee. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, along with Zach Melton, who we see on the card, Team Dynamic Disc member, also our presenting sponsor at the event. And Zach, we're pushing through. We're going to move over to the back half. What do you think of the back half of the course as opposed to the front half?
I think the back half, it's a little bit harder to score than the front nine. I mean, I think this course is a little easier when you get off to a good start on the front. You kind of have that cushion, and you can kind of pick up a birdie here and there on the back. We're entering a stretch of the letter holes where they're really challenging par threes, so challenging birdies to get.
Well, we're here for hole letter D, 330 feet. This one definitely sets up for that righty backhand if you keep it clean. Do you feel any disadvantage with a lefty forehand?
A little bit. It's kind of easier for that righty backhand to kind of get the more powerful skip and get it to jump up towards the green. But it's still doable with my forehand. I've got to hit the line and keep it low. If you kind of notice, Matt threw a more high-speed driver and played the skip, and Paul went with his buzz and was playing kind of a more stand-up hyzer. So it's kind of cool to see those two guys take two completely different routes to get there.
And you've got the forehand, which maybe was a little tight to that right side, but what were you throwing there?
That was a Lucid X Enforcer. Definitely a little tight to the right and too high. I wanted to copy Matt's line or get pretty close to that, where hopefully I would be hitting the ground somewhere where I was and skipping up onto the green, but didn't quite do it. Kind of hit a little rough patch here in the middle of the course, but if 22 holes, there's plenty.
Well, you're in a good position, at least, that you could be aggressive with that approach. And then there's that.
and then Johnny just shows me that it's actually easier to putt from down there. Just
exactly. So McRae, who started the day off, I believe, at 14 under, that puts him to 19, and he's got 5 under on the round. Orum's just 2 under on the round, and McBath takes the birdie, and that's going to put him to 6 under on the round. He started at 9 down, along with yourself and Orum.
Yeah, it feels like Paul's kind of starting to find. I felt like this birdie kind of got him on track. Like I said, these are not easy holes to birdie, so you start, getting a birdie here, getting a birdie there. You kind of get your momentum rolling and kind of get your groove.
Maddie, who we've seen not quite finding the center of the chains on a few of the earlier putts, seems to be dialed in there. And we're going to move on to hole letter E, thanks to Visit Tallahassee, huge supporter of the event. They're really getting behind the disc golf scene and all the tourism and anything you need to do. You should be checking out Visit Tallahassee. And this one is a little straighter than the previous hole, but what's the game plan here? What's the attack?
So I think you're going to see 2 or 3 different routes. Matt having, a good backhand game. He actually goes with the roller, the backhand righty roller. And I hadn't seen anyone do that.
Can you guys move out the road so the cars can go?
And Paul, directing traffic for everybody. I think you're going to see a couple of the guys, Johnny and Paul, kind of throw the righty backhand right of that big center tree and hopefully get it to play back. And Johnny kept it a little wide.
I believe that's a Tsunami by McBath. We also saw him park hole number 5 with that drive, or with that driver. And this time it looks like he's a little bit on that right side.
Yeah, he told me that it's kind of like his PD, the faster fairway, pretty straight but stable. And a little shameless ad, this is my Lucid X Maverick, my Tour Series disc. Look at that beautiful turnover shot,
Yeah, you got to get at least 5 of those today.
Right.
In all seriousness, yes, your Tour Series disc, if somebody does want to go out, support you and get a great disc, or get a great disc and support you, however you look at it, what is that, dynamicdisc.com? Is that where they can find it?
Dynamicdisc.com. Go to the store, and you can actually search Lucid X Mavericks, and should pull up for you.
Sweet. Well, great support we're seeing by so many manufacturers. Of course, Dynamic, our presenting sponsor here at the event. You're still left with a birdie look here. Let's see if you can connect.
Oh yeah, I thought I made that when I let go, and it just stayed an inch wide of the chains all the way by it. But I had a pretty solid look at it, just about 45 away, and couldn't cash it.
So Paul, a little bit closer than you, also from that right side.
Yeah, I'd say he was like 35, 37. Had a pretty decent look. Had to straddle away from that big tree, but had a good look.
The gallery continues to watch on as we're going to move out to a little bit more of the open spaces here in the next few holes.
Yeah, the gallery was fantastic. I mean, like we've pointed out a couple times, a few times, you know, some of us had to wait for people to stop moving, but they were very enthusiastic, which there's nothing worse than, you know, having people come watch and they're just kind of, they don't know when to clap, they don't know what to say, or which, you know, Johnny having to wait on a couple people as I say that, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's kind of funny. It's a little bit of a growing pain, and it's a catch-22. We want a gallery out there. We want people enthused and excited, but there's also a learning curve that goes along with, you know, what makes for a good gallery and what are some of the protocols of being still and moving and such. So it's a little give and take there, and we're moving over to hole letter F, the last one before we get back to the numbered holes. And this is... I really love the shape of this entire hole, and I feel like it sets up well for both a righty and a lefty. Or maybe not, you tell me.
I think it sets up a little better for the righty kind of to pull a shot over and have it finish back, but it's a beautiful hole with, you know, big trees that you kind of have to shape your shot around, and you definitely feel good if you walk away with a 2 on this hole.
And that appears to be the blueprint for a 2.
Oh, yeah. I believe that was Matt's signature D1 from Prodigy, his signature series. I don't want to say wrong, but I know it's 400 or 750 G D1, something, one of those 2 plastics.
A really good looking shot there by McRae. I think we talked about it earlier. That's his kind of flesh peach colored Enforcer.
Yeah, he was like, Matt, let me show you how to do this.
And another one of your size. I give you a lot of, honestly though, I will give you a lot of credit. You know, we see how a lot of our pros who are having maybe a tough go or just a little bit off like that can maybe implode or release those frustrations, and you stay quite composed throughout.
Yeah, it's something I think I learned early. It's, you know, you don't want to affect other people even when it's not your day. You know, I feel like a professional should always keep that in mind. You know, I had some good teachers that taught me to act the right way, and these guys are having good rounds and don't want to spoil that for them.
You know, we saw Macbeth can a sizable putt there a moment ago. McRae also putting in for the birdie, and then closest to the pin with Oram. And this is going to, you know, unfortunately leave you out of the birdie party.
Yeah, I told him it was a righty hole, you know, so not to worry about it.
I mean, last time they did that and left you out, you know, you took one back on them on the next hole. So.
Okay, let's see what happens then. Maybe something exciting happens right here.
We'll move over to hole number 10. What are you trying to do here?
Okay, on this tee shot, you want to throw it down the hill, and really you want to keep it centered, kind of in line with that big oak, because your second shot is going to be low ceiling, and you're trying to throw to this basket that's kind of on the crest of this little hillside, and to the left, that concrete structure is OB, so you got to keep that second shot controlled. And Paul has put a move on this guy. I think he can jump putt from there.
I wasn't sure he was quite ready to go. There was a lot of traffic, and we kind of had to stand down for a moment. And that car wasn't even fully passed, and all of a sudden he's like, well, I'm getting up and throwing, and I just barely caught the shot in time because he really jumped up and threw a lot quicker than I thought he was gonna.
Yeah, you kind of have to be ready to go on this tee pad. This road is super busy coming in and out of the park. And I believe Johnny leaked a little to the left. He kind of, as you can see a lot with this course, it's a lot of low ceiling shots.
And you're gonna bust out a roller here.
I am, and when I let go, I thought it was going to be okay, and then I thought, well, at least it'll hit that corner, and then it just kept going. Fun fact, it actually rolled into the road to the right, which I didn't know was in play, and curled back inbounds on the backside of all the rough. So,
Wow, and you were so far over there. I'm like, I don't know how long it's going to be or how many shots he's going to take. I'm going to stay over here where everyone else is, and I'm going to watch you eventually find yourself back out at it. I think here's your shot.
yeah, I basically needed to throw it over the trees, and I threw it straight into the middle of them. Bad strategy.
There's a pro tip, okay.
Yeah. And so that was my second.
And Maddie's really in prime position right there. He flirts with the OB on that left side. We see Mango Steve over there, but
Yeah, they gave
he
him a
is
safe
safe.
call. And there was my third, and I had nothing. It was a wall of just nonsense, and I just tried to throw it hard.
Paul approaching with his signature zone.
Yeah, that was a nice approach. And that was one of my caddies right there that kind of, I told them not to worry about walking through the rough, and they followed me through it. I had two brothers, Caden and Cole, that caddied for me for the second round, and they killed it. They were a couple of the best caddies I've ever had.
Awesome. Well, I saw them out there pretty enthusiastic and always right next to you, ready to go, bringing the cart along. So it was great to see.
Yeah, this kind of made their day to watch us four, to be up close and personal in the action and get to see all of us playing. I mean, they haven't even been playing disc golf a year, and I kind of had to reset, heard someone walking, crunching up some leaves, but it happens.
All right, ready to walk away. And from where you were at and what you had to fight through, a bogey's actually probably not so bad.
Considering I threw two horrible shots, bogey's not too awful. It's not what I want, but it can always be worse.
And by this time, McRae is also just, a little bit on edge because, again, the gallery sometimes not always fully settled, and sometimes he likes to just get up and throw quickly, and the gallery is not always, conscientious of what's going on out there.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword where, we want people out there, we want them to watch, and it's awesome. And, when you have a gallery, you kind of have to tweak things to, to playing with that many people out there watching.
And one of the tighter, probably more difficult holes to also fly the drone on. I decide this time I'm going to go and try and get the catch angle because it's relatively blind once you turn that corner.
Yeah, this is a good view. We don't get to see what they look like after they make that corner, so I actually thought Paul hit that giant oak tree not to the left of it, so it's kind of cool to see what really happened.
We also see Dave Montine, one of the assistant TDs who worked the live stream all 3 days, so a huge shout out to Dave and the rest of the club and the crew here.
Yeah, he's also one of my teammates, sponsored by Dynamic, and him and his Tallahassee group of guys, they did a great job, I feel like, with this event.
Yeah, I just can't say enough about how great it was, and I know Visit Tallahassee, huge supporter along with the city of Tallahassee, and I think we're going to continue to see really big things as you're throwing a perfect drive. I mean, you could have used that extra 5 or 8 feet, but that was a pretty solid drive.
I knew I hit that root.
So McRae's looking at a downhill putt, and walking away with a 3 here. I don't think too many people are going to be mad about that.
Yeah, this is a really difficult downhill par 3. A lot of trees in the way, and I just kind of leaned that one in there. Let's go. I think the crowd could feel it for me. They're like, it's about time this guy got one back. Here you go.
So great putt that finds the bottom of the cage for you. Like you said, maybe looking for that, that momentum swing or a little change of pace for you.
Definitely. Looks like Paul.
McAir ball, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you had to rub that one in, right?
Oh, I told him he got big putted for sure. Now, when you're having these types of rounds, it's nice to get a prayer like that to drop for you. You know, kind of. It's like he finally got one back on the course.
So, quick recap: you're looking at McRae is going to be 6 under. If he makes this, he remains 6 under for the round, keeping him at 20 under. Matty O is 4 under for the round. Macbeth at this point is 9 under, and after your birdie, you've pushed yourself to 1 under. So, quite a variance in scores. Everyone from 1 under to 9 under on this card for the day.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I've played that bad of a round. I've had a decent amount of birdies, but I think I've let like two holes kind of get the better of me. And on a course like this, it can bite you real quick.
So tell us about that shot, Zach. How amazing was it?
So I just let it go. I was like, please, baby Jesus, just push that one in there for me. And it did. I think the disc golf god smiled at me, you know. It was all right. It was a little wide, but it was good enough. So far, way better than any of Paul's. I know that. All these have been close. Boom, roasted.
So boring as we move over to hole 12. This is a hybrid hole that starts on hole 12 and finishes on hole 13's basket. And do you like the combo hole here?
I think this is a good combo. I think it's a legit 2-shot hole. No one's getting up here for like a jump putt. You have this low ceiling, and you have this Mando to the right that should never be in play unless you do that. Yep. Yeah, I've thrown better shots before, so it's not one of my better throws. Paul shows you what you want to do. You want to kind of get over this under the low ceiling and over the crest of the hill, and just kind of see what kind of shot you have on the next one.
That one's a little bit low by Oram, but that one also is going to work just fine. And Johnny McRae has been proving for the last round and a half that at whatever age he's at, it does not matter. This guy can go out and rip with the best of them.
Yes, and since I missed the Mando, I proceeded to the red tee, the short tee. Had to play from there. Instead, I figured play the shorter tee instead of the same tee, you know, and caught the low ceiling and could have thrown it better. And Matt, tough break for Matt catching that. What is that, a light pole? Power pole?
Power line, yeah, or pole or something like that. It just seems like not a lot is going your way, and then Matt is maybe getting a few of those residual feelings as well.
Yeah, at this point I'm thinking just get me off this hole.
Beth with a pretty solid approach shot, a little bit short and left, but he'll still have that's within workable territory for him. And
yeah,
what's this McRae is throwing there? It seems pretty stable.
It looked pretty stable, and it looked kind of bigger, like a mid-range. I'm not sure if it's an anchor. I actually would like to know. I didn't ask him what he was throwing there, but it looked like it had a Dimax on top. Not sure, but it did look very overstable. And I'm thinking, you know, make this for a 5 or just lay up, which I did.
Okay. Yep. That's one way to do it.
You know, gave my disc a little love tap with my foot to make me feel better. Not much you can say, but oh well, move on. It's good.
And certainly one of our favorite moments out there, I think, on the day. McRae, admittedly, maybe was a little bit frustrated with some of the goings of the round, and I think it's fair to say he was a little bit on edge. And to see him kind of even, I think, mentally turn himself around with the funny comment there, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's always nice to see guys, find the lighter side. And
Grab it.
he didn't want me to grab it. He was good.
He figured he'd finish it out. Hole 14, very attackable par 3. Of course, a little bit of a low ceiling there, and there's a couple different routes. Does this set up any better for you versus the righties on the card?
I think for me it does. If you see from the tee pad, there's a little bit more of a ceiling left side of these trees than on the right, which they have to keep it really low and hard, or clip that tree and not worry about it at all. But yeah.
Skips right to side.
And Matty O, of course, one of the most unique run-ups in all of disc golf, and obviously effective, but I think those long arms and the long legs generate plenty of power for such a small run-up.
Oh, absolutely. Him and Johnny both, you'll notice, they don't take very big run-ups at all, and they still generate a lot of power. I mean, Johnny's, if that's that peach disc again, he actually threw it deep. But great line, just a little too much power. And I let go of this shot, and I said, here we go. Okay, here we go. All right,
Yeah,
all right,
what
all
was
right.
that?
That was a Fusion Burst Getaway. One of my favorite discs that Dynamic makes. Really good 9-speed, stable driver. Not crazy overstable, not flippy, just good stability on it and kind of give it some power.
And Johnny, again, had some distraction going on somewhere behind me. It wasn't me, but definitely behind me there was a little distraction, and you could tell he wanted it.
He did. It was crazy how that kind of hopped up into the chains and just kind of got pushed out by a link or two, but I thought he made it when he let go.
And now
Poor
Paul
Paul.
there's clearly still thinking about, how you upstaged him back on hole 11, right?
Yeah, he just hasn't let that go yet.
Solid putt by Oram. That's going to put him 5 under for the day and 14 under overall.
Yeah, Matt's finally starting to put it together a little bit. It's good to see him bouncing back.
And that birdie brings you back to even par on the day as you started at 9 under. And
Oh, yeah.
Macbeth, even with that miss, is going to still be 10 under on the round. And now he's just a stroke off of McRae and close that relatively large gap. There was a 5-stroke gap to start the round, and now it's down to a single stroke.
Ooh, good thing he didn't let that go in there. I was going to have to call foot fault, but he got his balance back, so.
All right, with just a few left to play. Hole 15, what are you trying to do here?
Man, this is one of the tougher, probably the toughest par 3 to get a birdie on. It's hard to keep a disc this straight for that long, but you got to kind of hit a hyzer flip and get it to stay straight and hopefully get a putt.
I feel like this hole sets up so well for Matty O with that kind of low release and the power that he has. And I like you getting a little creative. You're going with the turnover roller if it turns over ever.
You know what? I thought, why not roll it into the road deep? And I actually had turned around. Paul told me it hit the roots on the back, and he said if it didn't do that, I think you would have rolled into the road. And I'm like, well, why not just send it to the next tee pad, And you're more prepared for Paul this time.
I was. You're exactly right. Although I still lost it because just the trees flat out got in the way this time. But at least I knew where he was throwing.
Right,
He takes
that's
the
not your
upper
fault.
route.
That's Paul's fault for hitting the tree this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Man,
Was that
that
not
was so
a
close to
perfect
being
looking
really
line?
good.
Yeah. So McRae kicked off to the left side. You hear the wind picking up. It's probably going on about 5 or 5:30 or so Eastern time as we're closing out the round.
Yeah, the wind would kind of come and go, but kind of had picked up a little more towards the end of this round. And Match about had an easy birdie. I just had to tell my mom happy birthday on the live feed because I'm here playing disc golf instead of home for her birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Had to tell Diane happy birthday. She was watching the live feed, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so she got real tickled that she got that live shout out.
So you're actually deep of the pin.
Yeah, I went about 70 long.
Oh.
And you know what? Happy birthday, Mom. Here we go.
Heck yeah. That is awesome.
2 putts of the day.
Yay, buddy. Good job. I was talking about, I mean, you may not be having the hot round, but you're going to have the highlight round.
Yeah, that was definitely Sports Center top 10 worthy.
And McRae's able to clean up. He has a little step putt that he's so effective with. Walks away with the par.
Yeah, that was a great up and down because he was just outside the circle. Not the putt you want for par, but he canned it, made it look easy.
And the rest of the card going to walk away. So it's kind of interesting. When you have been birdieing, it's when no one else does. And I don't know what that says, but we're going to move on to 16. What's the plan here?
Oh, man. You see that white arrow? That is a mando tree. You got to stay left of it. And you need a shot to stay straight for about 320 or so and then kind of start fading. You want to miss this one guardian tree, and have a look for birdie.
I would say if you're near either one of the two main trees, you're probably going to be happy with it, whether it's the big guardian on the left or the skinny guardian on the right. If you're near either one, you're looking at a putt at least.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to throw a hyzer into the woods, though, which is what I did.
Oh, and just short.
I think his drive just trickled left of that big tree, so I think he's going to have a pretty clean look.
And the mid-range shot here, not really playing much of a skip, but just really firing straight at it is Macbeth.
Yeah, that was a great shot.
And I apologize. I know Johnny told me what this blue disc is, and I forgot. But it finds that left side, and there's a lot of work to do over there, as you'll tell us.
Yeah. We have a gap to hit, but the gap really wasn't the problem. It was more of kind of the awkward stance that we both had down in this little bowl.
And there's a textbook scramble, right?
Yeah.
What were you throwing there?
That was a Felon by Dynamic. Really good, kind of overstable sidearm disc, and worked out really good. Hit right where I wanted, got the skip up, and get to walk away with the par.
So McRae's trying to save his par.
Back to,
and he does.
Back to back. He's feeling it. Those are good par saves.
Yeah, and he has to be thinking a little bit about the scores, or maybe he's not actually thinking about the scores, but we're looking at the momentum and what those all mean as Maddie cans a solid putt. But right now, McRae saves the par, stays at 20 under. Meanwhile, Macbeth is trying to put himself to 20 under with a birdie.
Yeah, it's hard to say if Johnny keeps up with that stuff or not. Everyone's different, but like if you look at it from my point of view, I've had started off really good and then kind of had a rough middle, and I'm trying to bounce back at the end. So I'm aware of the scores because it's kind of hard not to. Like, I know I had some bad holes, but maybe he's feeling the pressure on Paul kind of creeping up on him, or maybe he's not.
Well, we're moving on with just 2 holes left to play during this round. Of course, the final round on Sunday coming at us, but this is a relatively narrow gap to hit, and I'm not sure you always know what gap you're going to hit at the end of the flight either. Okay, that looked pretty clean.
Looked pretty clean. I think it caught a tree at the end, which is why we got that yell from Matt. But still, to hit this gap or this fairway, for the majority of the flight, that's a great throw. Looks like Paul sawed his off just a little. And I'm thinking, man, I really need to get a putt. And I got a woo. I got a Ric Flair.
Yeah. And as Johnny lines up, I want to again thank Visit Tallahassee. They encourage everyone to come join them in Tallahassee, see what everything is about as they're supporting disc golf.
Johnny gave himself a woo, a self-proclaimed woo. I'd said I had two, and then I told him, I said, you only got one. He goes, that's all right. I believe that was Paul's Kong.
Good shot, bro. I think it would have went in if I didn't hit that. It was an interesting play. It's just a weird wind. I figured I'd just throw the high-speed driver.
Okay.
I told him it was all luck.
So Maddie's got a long look at birdie.
Do it. Wow. Is he trying to take my putt of the round away?
That's a good call.
Don't you have to say roll tide or something? Roll tide. Boom.
So now here you are, just about pin high. We see a little bit of a headwind.
Yeah, the wind is picking up a little bit. Kind of.
That guy was revved up for you.
Yeah, got me going. I gave a little first down signal.
And McRae trying to reclaim the lead, and he does.
3 birdies. I bet we were the only card to do that. That's impressive.
And one of them wasn't Paul Macbeth. Isn't that even maybe a little bit more funny?
Yeah, it made it better.
Yeah, it does. All right. Well, this competition and the round is looking great. We got McRae has a 1-stroke lead over Paul, and both you and Maddie trying to maybe think about where your spot will be come Sunday's round with just one to play. Finishing on the par 4, 805 feet. We'd love to see some sweet birdies here, wouldn't we?
Oh yeah, this is a fun hole to birdie. I mean, that means you've thrown 2 great shots to get out here, up here at the basket, and it's up on a tall pyramid. It's a demanding tee shot, which you need distance on. It's a great hole, very challenging hole.
And that's exactly what you're trying to do, I have to assume.
Oh yeah, I'm throwing a getaway again, and I want it to go down the tunnel and finish a little right. Johnny just nicked the ceiling again. He's done that a few times here on the back stretch.
And that's a pretty solid looking line there by Macbeth as well.
Yeah.
He's trying to go right up the middle.
I asked him why he had to one-up me, but I actually was, if I throw this hole like I want, I'm throwing it straight and letting it finish right because it opens up my second shot, which don't want to spoil it, as we're going to see here in a second, but it is the shot I play for.
Oh, and that one seemed to just, I'll say get away from him. Yeah. I don't know how understable that is, but definitely a little less stable than he was hoping for. And you're going way big. You're going to play this wide hyzer route. Oh, yeah.
Crowd pleaser. First down.
Another first down. All right. I think you're going to confuse someone out there. They're going to be, why is this guy doing first downs
Yeah.
out on,
Why would he?
on
Why would he do it before he makes the putt? You know.
yeah. And Macbeth has a really routine approach shot from there. This is McRae's third shot.
I think Johnny pulled that a little wider than he wanted, but still putting.
Yeah, he'll have the exact same putt he had the day before.
Yeah.
For the birdie to finish out the round. Said today it will be for the par, and same with Matty O. I mean, he could almost have left his mini there from the previous day. And here you are for the birdie. Oh yeah.
Not the round I wanted, but had a good finish to get under par, and thankfully that kept me on chase card and, you know, in a position to kind of make a move on the last day.
And Macbeth. Wow, so Macbeth's going to take another birdie, and that's going to push him to 21 under, knotting himself up with McRae, as McRae's just looking at finishing out with a par. And like I said, almost the exact same spot he was the day before. Oh, and he thought he had it, and I thought it was going in as well. That had really good height, surprisingly just a tad high, and Matty O is going to tap in. And Zach, I'm going to let you go. I want to thank you so much for joining me and giving us your insights.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to City of Tallahassee, along with Visit Tallahassee, Dynamic Disc, the entire Tallahassee crew, and all four of these card mates, including you, Zach. It's been great. Looking forward to seeing some more in round 3. Let's catch up with Paul Macbeth in the hot round, who's our leader. I'm the Disc Golf Guy, and that was my video blog. Paul, you had the hot round here today, but I'm going to say it. I don't think everyone was quite as sharp today. Is that, maybe you were, but we didn't see that from everyone else. Any reason for that?
Well, no, I don't think there's any reason for that. You know, Johnny played really good yesterday, so it's hard to keep that up, and he kind of had some mistakes here and there. But this course, I think, just kind of does that to you. You know, there's a lot of hard par 3s, so if you're not getting in that rhythm, it's hard to keep it going. And then some of the par 4s are pretty tricky, so it's hard to see. But nobody really got going hot off the start. I think these first 6 are pretty gettable.
Yeah, and at one point I may have had a extra loud sigh. I was kind of surprised. Everybody was struggling a little bit. We get through it, but then let's fast forward all the way to the final hole. You're down 1. But here we go into round 3. Now you're up 1. Do you think about anything as you move into that third and final round?
No, I mean it's always good to be up. You know, if I shoot a good round, I feel like I should win. But you know, there's always the chance that Johnny can go off. I don't know what third's sitting at right now, but I don't even know what the second card's at, honestly. But you know, there's always the chance that Johnny can just go off. You know, kind of how he did the first day and even better. So the goal is just go out and shoot a good round. So let's talk a little bit about Tallahassee here. It seems like they're putting on a tremendous event. The gallery, the crowd, the club, everybody seems to be into it. That's got to fuel you a little bit out there. Yeah, it's really fun out there. And then with this style of course, you know, they're no matter where they stand, they're not really in the way. You know, when we get to the woods, it gets pretty tight, but you know, on a lot of courses. But here, they seem to be out of the way, you know, a majority of the round. Well, and a few times we had to stand down. We waited for some cars to pass by. You know, you mentioned being in a park course, but it barely feels like a park course outside of all the cars. There's some serious length out here and some pretty good challenge, wouldn't you say? Yeah, no, definitely. This is a surprise here with, you know, when you're here at the park course, but the length of this property is incredible. So dealing with the cars is kind of an issue, but it's more so for the gallery because they're just standing in the road. They're trying to get the best view. And then they're stopping cars. But other than that, you know, you wouldn't know you're at a park minus the children behind us and the cars. So it's a fun course, and they even got more holes than we play. Yeah, I think we're just playing 22, and I know they normally have 24 or more. I'd love to see it even trimmed down to a really solid 18. They've got obviously lots of opportunities and lots of options while we're out here. Well, I want to thank Dave and the entire Tallahassee crew, everyone else that was involved, all of the cameramen, all of the scorekeepers, live, everything else. We're heading into round 3. This is Paul Macbeth. He's got a 1-stroke lead. We'll catch you tomorrow on Championship Sunday.